This is a demo on rectangular profiles using adaptive sweep. I'm going to start by creating a spine. I'm going to keep this a ruled direction, so I'll start at this point 0, 0, and I'm going to make my spine 20 inches long. So I'm going to go negative 20 in the X direction. Oh, I was under normal to curve. It meant to be under point to point. Well, lesson learned there. Remember to don't rely on your defaults here. The default normally is point to point, but the last time I used this, I used angle normal to curve, so that's why it went in there. Let's try this again. Create a point on the axis. And the second point will be negative 20 in the X direction. So there's your 20-inch length line. I'm going to go to the YZ plane and create a sketch. And I want to try and keep this in numbers as simple as possible. So I'll just do something like this, a 2-inch box, 1 inch high, auto constrain it, contact this bottom line to this horizontal axis, this line to the vertical axis. You should always pull these out in case you want to come back. You want them to be visible for people to be able to see, or even yourself. So I like to pull them out a 1/2 inch out so it looks right, and then we can exit out of this. I'll go back into the ISO view, and using this profile I can create an adaptive surface, which would be a lot like an extrude or an explicit. So under surface I could do an extrude 20 inches in the reverse direction. Okay, I'll hit undo. Another very common move is sweep. We're going to do an explicit profile because it's not a line, circle, or a conic. Any other shape is done if it's closed, can be done. Well, it doesn't even have to be closed. Any other profile, 2D profile, can follow a guide curve using explicit. So I'm going to use with reference surface. We'll select the profile, the guide curve, which will also be my spine. I'll pick XY, and I'll pick this arrow here to be on top and hit preview. Oh, what the heck. Let's do an angle of 90. Angle 180. Okay. Select OK. Alright, so I've done a demo on an extrude and a sweep, and I will do another demo now using adaptive. So let's delete the sweep out. Under adaptive, guide curve is the spine. The sketch is that sketch I created, that 2D profile, and I'll select OK. All three of them actually are identical surfaces. So why do you have to have so many different ways to do the same thing? Well, each one has different features, and the features with adaptive sweep, I think you're going to find are really cool. I will hide the sweep for now, and I'm going to create repetitive line points. I'll do 10 of them at the endpoints on this spine and select OK. I have 10 points equally spaced 2 inches apart along this 20-inch length line. I'm going to pull the adaptive sweep out of hide, and under adaptive sweep, under section, I'm going to open this up and I'm going to grab 0.5 and see where it takes me here, and go to parameters, and I'm going to change that to 2.5 and 1.5 and hit preview. Let's try this. I don't know where 0.5 is. Let me click on it here. Yeah, that's 0.5. So I'm gonna double click my adaptive surface, add a section. I'm gonna grab that point right there, which is 0.5. I'm not sure why it gave me that error here. So I'm gonna hit parameters, change that to 2.5, 1.5, and hit preview. And you see what it's doing there? It's controlling the shape. I'm actually able to change that. In fact, let's add another section, this point here, and go to parameter tab and change that parameter to 3 and 2. And then I'll hit preview and see how it's starting to grow here. And let's go to another one here. Let's add 2 more at a time. So I'm going to grab this next point and then this next point here and go to parameters. Let's see, 2 was 2.5, 3 went to 3, 4 is going to go to 3.5, and this one's going to go to 2.5 and hit preview. Look how it's growing, and then you notice that all the parameters until I modify them stay the same as the original. So look at the kind of shape you can create without having to generate each one of those cross sections. So if you have a cross section that is parameterized, you can edit the parameters on specific points without having to generate a whole bunch of sketches. So let's go back to number 5. Let's change that to 4 and 3. And then we'll make the next one the same. So I've been going at an angle here, but when I go to the next point, I'm going to have a flat because I'll keep the parameter the same for 5 and 6. So I'll double click on this, add this next point for the next section. Make sure you zoom in and grab the point and nothing else. And then under that parameter, that will also be 4 and 3. And you see how it created that and then suddenly shifted up and came flat. And let's do this point. So we'll go to section. I'll just go ahead and add in all my sections. It's kind of fun to watch it grow and shrink. So you could do this. You can pick all your user points, and then when you're done picking your user points, and then come back, and actually might be easier to try and remember the numbers. So I'll go to 7 parameter, change that to 3.5, 2.5, and notice what the shape looks like now. And let's go to section 8, change that one to 3 and 2, preview that, and let's go to section 9, go to parameters, change that to 1.5 0.5. That doesn't seem right here. Seems like I did something wrong. Oh, I got skinnier, which is fine if that's what you're aiming for. I think this is supposed to be 1.5 and 2.5, and hit preview. Okay. Looks like one of my parameters is off, but that's enough to get the gist here of what's going on using the adaptive command. Okay, again, the advantage was instead of creating all this 10 different sketches, I was able to do this with only one sketch. Okay, that's your adaptive surface command.